Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the Guitar Souls podcast. This is episode number 54, coming to you live from the studio that now has, well, we're not actually live, but we're recording it live, but people aren't watching it live. We should do a live episode, though.
That'd be good fun.
People do like the idea of that.
I would do that. I think that'd be great fun.
I think it'd be great. I love engaging with people. So, engage with us. Hit us up in that comment section below. We read those comments.
My only concern would be Marcus deciding to just fucking troll us.
Yeah.
Can you imagine being swarmed?
Swarmed by his Discord people just posting pictures of poo. No, thank you.
A swathe of incels.
Yeah, because our fans are a whole lot better. Anyway, coming to you live from the studio that actually has guitars on the walls, so we can do. This is episode 54. I'm Levi Clay, one of your hosts, and I'm here with my good friend, Mr. Mike McLaughlin. How's it going, Mike?
You know, how are you?
Yeah. I feel much better now I've got these guitars on the wall, so why don't we use that as an opportunity to turn and go, look at those. Ooh. So for those of you that are watching, you can see some beautiful guitars behind us, but for those of you that are only listening, you may be surprised to hear that behind us right now we have some Ormsby guitars hanging on the walls. Yeah. So huge thank you to our friends and sponsors over at Ormsby Guitars. We would recommend that you head on over to Ormsby Guitars and check out some of their products. Some of the NAMM Custom Shop stuff is currently available for purchase, isn't it?
That's what we were speaking about before we came on air. Is looking at a few of those customs like, oh, I love that. Oh, that's beautiful. Oh, I want one of them.
Yeah. I still go for the cheap one, the super cheap one.
The GTXs?
The GTX, yeah, the GTX 6.
There was a deal on the GTXs from NAMM.
Was there?
Perry was selling them off a wee bit cheaper. I mean, just at the end of NAMM. But
Perry, why haven't you told me this?
Because you weren't watching. It was first come, first served. They went. There was a high alert yellow 7-string and a 6-string. I think it was kind of the colour of my guitar, the Hype.
Right.
So almost like that kind of red there. The Hype 6.
I really, really, really wanted the GTX, the Hype GTX 6 in that green. That's what I wanted. So.
Ah, well. You'll need to wait then.
Yeah, we'll see what happens. Life is full of many things, Mike. Mainly disappointment, but sometimes guitars.
Can you read my mind?
This show is also brought to you by Iron Brew, not officially, but again we're enjoying the old 1901 Iron Brew, and while drinking it, I've noticed that it is the same colour as Mike's chin. So yeah, loving some Iron Brew.
Let's be honest, bars are laughing all the way to the bank.
Yeah,
£2 on a bottle, and people are still buying it. And like you bought like a case, did you not?
Yes. Yeah. But until your brother bought me over that bottle yesterday, the last time I'd had it was on the podcast with you. So
I don't believe that.
But I absolutely was, because I agree with you that £2 per bottle is absolutely ridiculous.
See, that's kind of why I stopped even looking for like A&W root beer. I really like it, but I'm not going to get into a shop and spend £1.50 on a can of juice. It's just not going to happen.
Yeah. Well, we talked about my father-in-law's policy with purchasing soft drinks, which is he'll never pay more than 10p per 100 millilitres. And I think I need to adopt something like that. You know, I feel that I'm overspending. My passion is cherry Coke. I love cherry Coke. And I can buy 2 1.5 litre bottles of that for £3 in.
So you're just on your threshold.
But even then, that's still a lot for what it is. When you can pay 80p for a 2 litre bottle of limeade.
Exactly what I was going to say. Like there's better out there.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Anyway, let's talk about some guitar-related things.
Let's do it.
Last episode was fantastic. I really enjoyed the last episode. I think it came out really well, and I think
we had a lot of positive things to talk about.
Yeah,
which sadly we don't so much today.
We've got lots more. We've got sadness, negativity, depressing things, lots of deaths, lots of illnesses.
That's pretty fucking bad.
Probably shouldn't even really be doing an episode today. We should be in mourning. But okay,
could you have a minute's silence on a podcast? Do you think that would come across well?
I'll tell you what, for anyone listening, we're going to hold a minute silence right now, and what we would urge you to do is we're not actually going to stop. We would just urge you to pause the podcast for a minute.
Fuck off.
Yeah. That'll have the same effect, won't it?
Just about.
Okay, so why don't we start out with something that is a little bit entertaining, at least entertaining to me. Not that I want to make this about our dear friend, lol cow, Mr. Rob Chapman.
Oh, brilliant. I'd forgotten about this, actually.
I know. I got sent this by someone on Instagram, and I refused to believe that this was actually happening, and I went and did some research, and it's absolutely true. So obviously Rob was at NAMM, and he performed on the Ernie Ball booth, because he plays their strings, right?
All right, okay.
Yeah, Ernie Ball posted the video of it to their YouTube, and it's absolutely fucking hammered with dislikes and absolutely hammered with negative comments. People even saying that they're going to boycott Ernie Ball as a brand because they're giving attention. They're giving a platform to a bully.
That's the gist of it, I suppose, isn't it? You can't really argue otherwise.
And the same thing is happening on Rob's videos as well. Like you check his videos out. There's he's getting a lot of heat.
See, I think this will all die down when he shows his true internet power in his next video.
Oh yeah,
you know, because he's got so much control and effort and sway.
Yeah,
not.
Well, I think he's smart enough to know that what he'll actually do is he'll make a video saying,
"I'm sorry."
No, he won't. No, don't be silly. He'll make a video saying, I've been really depressed lately. I'm gonna go take some time off of the internet and work on me. And then he'll take 3 months off and he'll come back. Nothing will be said about it again. We'll just pretend that it didn't happen.
Are you going to quit the internet at the same time? Because there's no way you'll let that happen.
I know. Where, of course, the right thing to do would just be to say, you know what, guys, I fucked up. I'm sorry. Anyway, the reason I bring this up is because on that video where all these negative comments are coming in, they're starting to be spam botted with responses.
Mm-hmm.
So there are several YouTube accounts that are all they must be sock puppet accounts. The reason I say this is because it's not people coming to Rob's defense with well thought out or reasoned comments. Everyone is almost identical, which is he's been misrepresented as a sentence, and then great honest guy.
Am I wrong? But is that not exactly the same technique that we saw with Lance at the very beginning?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, he had a lot of problems in the past when the business was taken over by someone dodgy, but now you can trust them. They're definitely US made. It's true. I gave him £9 billion and he gave me it back the week after with 3 guitars, a pat in the back and 7 hookers.
There is actually Lance news that we'll mention today.
But I just mean it's funny how there's parallels to be drawn here.
Yeah. So all these sock puppet accounts posting, he's been misrepresented as a sentence. That in itself is, very specific wording. And then great honest guy as another sentence. I'm not going to bring these comments up because I don't want to reveal my source for this. But yeah, very strange. And there's lots of accounts that are posting similar things as responses to every negative comment. Come on.
Unsurprised.
It's fucking embarrassing. Absolutely embarrassing.
But you don't know the power he has on the internet. Certainly not when he spends money. Giving all the money to like a leaks farm.
It's funny because KDH is one of his points that he made in his video is that Rob's channel has been on the decline for a long time now, and Rob refuted this. Brought up his stats. He's like, my channel's doing as well as it ever has. It was pointed out to me last night that he's had a video up that for the last 5 days, and it's brought in 15,000 views, which is awesome. If we got 15,000 views on a video, I'd be really happy.
Same.
Then you remember he's got 735,000 subscribers. So his videos in about a week get seen by less than 2% of the people that are subscribed to his channel. If one of my videos gets 1,000 views, it's been twice as successful in terms of people that subscribe that actually click on your content. That's the sign of a dying channel right there.
Yeah.
When 1 to 2% of the people that subscribe to you actually watch your content.
Not so good.
It's over, man. It's over.
To everyone's benefit. Sorry, did I say that there?
Yeah. So the Lance Benedict TTM thing, this is just a tiny little update. He has been found liable in a California court for selling illegal franchises.
It's a start.
He has been ordered to pay a fine of $10,000, which is great. He's also been ordered to refund and compensate the 4 people that he sold illegal franchises to, which is excellent news, because I know that the guys that were involved in that, which was Jason McCulloch, John, the Hussey brothers, and Mike Lucretia, I believe. I know none of those had the financial means to pursue Lance for that money. They'd already lost out the best part of $10,000, and you should never throw good money chasing bad, as they say. So they had kind of written this off and were just trying to piece their lives back together. So the fact that the California court system has awarded them their right to restitution is excellent. Of course, now it is a problem of getting the money from Lance, but it's not a case of you've been told that you owe this money. Lance has been told that he has to pay this money, and he's been told he has 60 days to pay it. So if he doesn't pay it, he'll be held in contempt of court, which will cause more problems and ultimately result in him ending up behind bars if he doesn't fucking do as you're fucking told. So this could end up in the happiest way possible.
I think that would be the best scenario for everybody, except people who are now out of pocket severely that need the money back, because it's just going to mount up and mount up if he does end up in jail, where it's just going to keep going like, everything you've done, here's what you need to pay back, or you can't pay it back because you're in jail and you've got no money, supposedly. More time in jail. These people do not get the compensation they deserve.
Well, to be honest, I think most of the people that are involved in this and are owed money have written off ever getting the money back. They don't expect the money back. Of course, they deserve it, but they're not expecting it at this point.
I'm just talking about the people who are...
They do want to see Lance punished.
Invested in terms of need the money back, which is fair enough. You know what I mean? I'm not talking about the people who spent $400 in buying a guitar off him and are waiting. Like, that is a write-off. Like, you shouldn't have done it in the first place. Yeah. Not to fucking make you feel any worse for what you've done.
Yeah.
Stupid mistake. Pencil it to an expensive mistake.
Yes.
But there's people who've got a much bigger vested interest in seeing Lance, obviously, as you say, brought to justice.
Yeah. And the reason some people will say, well, why are you still talking about this? This is done, right? Lance needs to pay these people money back, and the way he will pay that money back is by selling more guitars.
I was just going to say, I'll tell you right now why we're still going on about it. The website went offline. I made a comment on the TTM Guitars page, where's the website gone? I got one laugh reacting and it was deleted, and within a day or two someone else commented, oh, the website's back up, and it is, and there's guitars for sale. The pages have 8 to 10 weeks delivery for these guitars, plus custom shops. Lance, you can't even give them to the customers that have bought them already. Stop being such a colossal piece of shit.
Yeah.
An absolutely monolithic turd.
I absolutely love how well you enunciate when you really want to throw an insult at someone like that.
That's a Scottish thing.
Yeah.
My great example is the word cunt, right? With the T at the end, super offensive, right? But if I was talking just in passing, that cunt. Like, because there's no harsh T on it, and because it's in a kind of soft spoken way, that's me essentially just saying that guy, that chap. But I mean, that cunt and that cunt are two different things, and I mean severely.
Yeah, as soon as you point that out, you're absolutely right. Yeah.
A lot of Scottish language is like that. The minute people start really enunciating, then you know things are bad.
Yeah.
Right, you. Wait a fucking minute. You're like, okay, then things are bad.
Yeah. So something good hopefully will come out of this. If Lance is found in contempt of court and he ends up in jail, I propose we make a new segment, which is letters to Lance. How do you feel about that? We can make a new pen pal.
Looking out for Lancey. Never stop looking.
And on the note, I want to float this idea by our wonderful listeners. On the note of new segments for the show, I'm toying around with the idea. I floated this with Mike, but I'd be interested in what everyone else has to say about this. Very much piggybacking off the success of Hot Ones, which is one of the great YouTube shows. I really like the idea of introducing hot sauce into our show.
Can we call it Hot Runs?
Oh, that would work too. Yeah, I like the idea of introducing...
It's just an excuse for us to eat wings.
Exactly.
Be fucking honest.
Exactly. I like the idea of doing a quiz on the show where I prepare a relatively easy quiz. Evidently, the questions that I was asking for you earlier were a struggle, but
they're not difficult. I just don't know them.
Yeah. Okay. So the question I asked earlier was, what's the third track on Metallica's Master of Puppets? Now, to be fair, I also couldn't tell you that. I'd have to really think about that.
Thing that should not be a thing.
What's the first track on Master of Puppets?
Blackened? No, it's not. That's fucking... Battery?
Yes. Right. So I still think that question is a little bit hard.
Yes.
Whereas if the question was, name 4 songs that are on Master of Puppets, name 5 songs that are on Master of Puppets, or list
the best guitarists in Metallica in order: James Hetfield.
List
Lars
Iron
Ulrich.
Maiden's first 5 albums in the order they were released.
No.
Now, again, I wouldn't be able to do that, but you know what I mean. Like if I wrote a quiz that was relatively simple, 10 questions, naming 5 songs that's on Master of Puppets, relatively easy.
Could get there.
introduce some really mean hot sauce into that equation,
Uh-huh.
I think we've got the potential for something that could be a little bit fun at the end of a show. So.
Well, a funny wee story about hot sauce. Right?
Go for it.
I impressed some people in Portugal who didn't speak a lot of English, and I don't speak any Portuguese, to be fair. Played a festival in Portugal just the other week, XXX Apada in Tromba Festival. I don't know how else to say it, but I think it's called Freaking Grind. It was fantastic, had a great time. Anyway, part of the catering there, they had vegan chili and this kind of beef stew, and they had their own sauces, and they had this triple X beware super hot sauce caution wrote in the bottle and stuff, and I'm like, oh, I need to have a bit of this. So I did a couple of beers and I was like, I'm going to have some of that, and I had vegan chili, and the chili was delicious, but I was like, I'm going to get in about this, right? So it looked like, imagine like peri peri sauce, but like the chili oil was so obvious in it.
Yeah.
Right, so it was like made to be hot. So I was like, right, I'm going to try a bit. So they put a wee drop on a spoon. I tried it and I was like, that's maybe a builder, but it's not that hot. And then I poured hundreds on my dinner and they all just looked at me like, you're going to regret that. But it ended up not being that spicy. So the more I ate it, the more they were watching me like, he's going to spew or go red hot or something. And by the end of it, when I finished, I was like, that was delicious. They just kind of looked at me.
Yeah, like, it's this tolerance thing, isn't it? If you eat a lot of spicy food, you just build up a really high tolerance to it.
I think so. I haven't eaten a lot of spicy food recently at all, though.
Right.
So
we were in Bombay Cottage.
Mm-hmm.
Bombay Cottage, and Hayley's sister got, what did she get? I can't even remember what she got, to be honest. But it turned up, and she ended up picking all of the green chilies out of it. But yeah, and putting them on the side. And it got towards the end, it was just too much for her. She was like, I'm not going to eat any more of that. Do you want me to put this aside for you and you can take it home? And I was like, yeah.
Yes.
Chuck those chilies back in there though. She was like, you can't eat those. And I was like, what?
Sherman
they're supposed,
yes, I can.
Yeah, they're supposed to be in the damn chili. Of course you can. She's like, Levi, they're just too hot. So I just got my fork and picked up all the chilies and ate them all there and then. And yeah, sure, they were hot. It was hot. It was a definite burn. But there's that tolerance there for that. So, and of course, my family all looked at me like I was insane. But
I think a part of that as well is that kind of, I don't want to say thrill seeking. It's not thrill seeking, but there's like an enjoyment and a challenge in getting acclimatized to not like a level of heat, but just enjoying heat in general. Yes. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
So I don't know if tolerance would be the way I'd put it, but it's almost like having an acquired taste for spicy food.
I think you're right, and this is obviously nothing. We're way off on the subject of guitars, of course, here, but
we'll come back to it.
It's style of spice. You know, you could have spicy Thai food versus spicy Jamaican food, and they're very, very different types of spice. And it's the same with hot sauces. Like I don't like peri peri sauces. Let me rephrase that. Those aren't the sauces that I go for.
Yes,
I go for like Louisiana style hot sauces.
Have you been to Buck's Bar? In Glasgow?
No.
You and I are going to go in there because they have incredible food, and I swear to God, they've got a bar of about 200 different hot sauces, and you can just wire in.
I want to be super Scottish here and go, all air it.
All air it.
All air it.
All air it. And about it like a dog with a bowl of beetroot.
Yeah, let's go for that. So I'm a Louisiana hot sauce or a buffalo sauce type guy. I like a very vinegary sauce, but I want some heat. Anyway, let's
do it.
So let's leave the sad stuff for a minute.
Yes.
Let's go from a sad subject to a sad person. This just made me cringe, right? So Slipknot's Corey Taylor. I've been away from social media for 6 months, and it's brilliant.
Have you though,
Corey? Have you? Right, I've not even read this, other than the fact that he's confirmed that someone else runs all of his social media accounts. Have you been away from social media? Isn't the whole point of social media that you get to engage with people and you get a platform on which you can stand on your soapbox and say your things and other people can read the things you have to say? Corey's social media is the mainstream press, the mainstream metal press. You know what I mean? Like,
I am not far off.
Yeah, like Loudwire and this is literally on
Metal Sucks.
Metal Hammer and all of those places. They are Corey's social media because anytime Corey's got something to fucking say, these places publish it for him. So he has the ultimate form of social media. You don't need to go to Facebook in order to see what Corey has to say. You go on any form of social media anywhere and everybody shares the fucking article to the thing that Corey Taylor said in the damn news.
I mean, even
Corey, you're a fucking meme, mate.
for anybody that's not watching, you won't see this. I don't know if Levi wants to bring it up on screen, but directly underneath the subtitle, or the subheading, sorry, there's a Facebook, a Twitter, a Pinterest, and an email link to send these out and share them via social media.
Yeah, good point.
Fuck me, man.
Good point. So Corey Taylor reports that he's been away from social media for 6 months and said the experience has been brilliant. And to be fair, I can relate to that. Like, I've taken like 3 or 4 days off of social media, just no internet whatsoever, and it is, once you get out of that, I need to check my phone thing, it is very, very refreshing. So I could see how doing that for 6 months would be wonderful. But again, when you can just talk to the mainstream press whenever you want about whatever nonsense is in your mind, as Corey constantly does, the Slipknot and Stone Sour frontman was speaking with the Irish Times. See? Talking to the Irish Times. He can talk to whoever he wants and they'll listen to him. When he was asked why he decided to move away from all of his accounts, with the vocalist saying that someone else now runs his presence online for him, Taylor says, "I've been off social media for 6 months. It's been brilliant. I don't miss it at all. Here's the thing. It made me go back and read the news again. I read the news every day." Okay. It's not like I'm not up to speed with everything, but now I'm not getting shitty reactions to news stories. I'm not barraged by a bunch of memes in reaction to a news story here or there. And I do kind of get what you're saying here, but if the only reason you're using social media is to consume news, I don't think you're using social media for its intended purpose, right? That's a byproduct of social media rather than its inherent
Kind of sounds
reason
like
for creation.
He's like, I couldn't control the echo chamber, so I had to step away. Shitty reactions to news and other people's opinions.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't tend to read, use social media as a source for news. But when I do see a news story on Facebook, I don't go, let me read that news story, and then what do other people have to say about this? You know what I mean? So, yeah.
I mean, I think the whole point in people sharing news articles on social media is for debate, but it doesn't mean you have to engage.
Yes, absolutely.
You have that free choice, Corey.
On the note of Slipknot, you didn't go and see them, did you, when they were playing in Glasgow?
No, I didn't. Thanks.
This was talked about widely in the metal press. You see what was banned at the Glasgow show?
Everything. Fans, glasses, shoes.
People were not allowed to wear any sort of spikes or chains.
Yes.
To a Slipknot gig. Now, this was brought to my attention by Sue Hulk, Marcus's missus, Countess Dankula, if you like.
The great Countess.
Yeah. She brought this to my attention because she was obviously going to the gig, and I needed clarification on what that meant. What does that mean, no spikes? Like, define a spike.
As in on clothing?
Yeah.
A silver pointed part that could either be
define
embossed.
Point. That's what I'm getting at.
Sharp.
How sharp does something have to be before it's a spike rather than a bump?
I would imagine the general shape of it would give that. If it is longer than it is wide, and it comes to a point, rounded or otherwise,
right,
it's a spike.
So you're saying longer than it is wide?
Yes.
Okay. I'd agree with you on that, but none of that clarification was provided.
No, of course not, because they're just like, don't bring spikes.
I literally think, like, if you were wearing like the classic studded belt type thing,
yep,
that would be, nope, spikes, not allowed in.
Even like a leather jacket or like a bullet belt.
Yes.
With a like rounded tipped bullets, can't come in, sorry.
Yeah. It's just astonishing, absolutely fucking astonishing.
We are not your kind.
And no chains. Okay. No chains.
I know. I can't think of anybody that went to Slipknot that wouldn't have had a wallet on a chain.
Yeah. Yeah.
Stereotypical mosher.
More importantly, like, the wallet on the chain thing isn't a weapon. I appreciate that you could, if you chose to, use that as a weapon, but it's primarily a security device, is it not? You put your wallet on a chain, so your wallet can't be stolen, and you can't lose it.
Not lose it, definitely. It not be stolen, probably questionable. Because
Okay.
I'm pretty certain if someone went to steal that wallet, whether it was on a chain or not, you would be getting dragged to your ass.
Yeah.
But anyway, yes, the point is,
even
it's
if that
not a
isn't
weapon.
the design of the chain, that is certainly one of the things that it provides. It's an added layer of security, right?
Yes.
So, yeah. Where was it? SEC? SECC?
Probably.
Yeah.
Fashion and function was the idea, I think.
It'd be the Hydro, won't it? Definitely be the Hydro. That's the big one, isn't it?
Could be. I mean, the SECC is probably more standing.
Okay.
I think we'd been Slipknot, it probably would have been in there.
Yeah. Okay.
Hydro's more like a... Well, they've still got a big standing, but that's more like an amphitheatre kind of...
Right. Yeah.
You're going for the concert, not the experience.
Point is, when you go to concert halls like that, pickpocketing is always rife.
100%.
So nice of you to remove an added layer of security for people. But it's okay because people don't have studs on. It just seems so... ignorant. Let's go with ignorant. Because has somebody that's organising this event, has staff, the venue manager, let's go with venue manager, have they looked at this and gone, oh, those rockers are coming in. You know what they're like with their spikes and their tattoos.
Taking each other's eyes out.
There's going to be loads of violence at this. You know what I mean? Like, where would this have come from? No spikes. I don't understand it. It just strikes me as extremely ignorant.
Just a small segue. Just in this article we're reading from Metal Hammer, it says that they brought Polish black and death metal superstars Behemoth along for the ride. Remember we were talking about Behemoth? I forgot to mention this last time. The albums we were talking about, Power Trip, that, Transcendence by Devon, and Parallax 2, I think it was, by Between the Buried and Me. I listened to all 4 of them. Just purely my opinion. How The Satanist could have become such a popular album, I will never know. It is middle of the road, almost pop, with some sort of black metal influence.
There's your answer. Pop.
But that's not me throwing shade at pop.
No,
some pop is amazing, and credit where credit's due, there's some fantastic writers and artists out there, but there's nothing standout about that album to me. There was maybe 2 songs that I was like, oh, that's a cool riff, but nothing lasted long enough. I was like, I'm really into this. Like, no, just no. Power Trip was pretty cool, but it was a bit short. Transcendence was fantastic,
right?
But maybe dragged on a wee bit. That's a first listen, so I wasn't super enamoured, but it's the kind of album I would go back to and revisit and probably really enjoy.
That was the point they made on the reviews of it, that there's depth to it. Definitely.
And I think it's a lot more revisitable for me than Empath. And Between the Buried and Me was just fucking wild.
Yeah.
As expected.
Between the Buried and Me.
It kind of started the same way as Colours does, that kind of piano and just singing and being dead nice, and then it just becomes a fucking different animal with ridiculous technical guitar parts and heavy, and then into random fucking genres, and just...
Well, I have to say that, like, it makes sense why everyone would herald that album as album of the decade, because we're not really listening for the opinions of proper music critics. We're looking at the opinions of mainstream metal media, and, you know, anything that can bring in sort of break down barriers and get more people interested in a sound, in a genre, is something that inherently, if you work for a publication like this, you're going to look at that and go, this is incredible, because it makes our job viable again.
Yes, the same people that push Slipknot as an extreme act.
Yes. So extreme you can't wear spikes to their gigs.
It's not. It's pop music.
Yeah.
It's pop music with some guitars in it.
Tell you what, I was absolutely devastated, though, to see that Guitar did a meet and greet with Mick Thompson.
Did they?
For Birmingham.
Oh,
yeah, just
because you would have been there.
Yeah, if it was in Glasgow, queuing up for a day before. Yeah, I've always wanted to meet Mick Thompson.
I can imagine you've been down there, BC Rich in hand.
Yeah, yes.
Get it signed.
Yeah, I'll have that on the wall next time we do a show. This is a total aside. They have a competition going on currently where you can win the opportunity for VIP tickets and travel to Oslo for the Slipknot gig.
Brilliant.
And you'll get to hang out with Mick there.
Get to go to Oslo, hang about with Mick Thompson, and then you've got a couple of hours to do whatever you want while they're playing. Go away, have a nice time. Go to a spring, like a hot spring, like, you know, those water bath things. Maybe see the Northern Lights. I don't know, because it'll be night time. Obviously, I'll not be in the venue. Go for dinner. What is there to do?
Just go home early.
I've been to Oslo. I spent a full day in Oslo airport, and it was really bad. Not because the airport was bad, just because I had to spend a whole day in the fucking airport. That was me travelling to the Czech Republic. Because I couldn't get the day off work before the gig, I couldn't go with the rest of the guys. So to fly via Oslo, I spent about 18 hours in the airport. Then I flew to the Czech Republic. Which airport, I don't remember. A man who didn't speak any English picked me up. I didn't speak any Czech. We drove for about 2 hours in silence. And I got to the festival. I had been awake for about 36 hours, played the gig, watched the rest of the bands, tried to have a sleep, couldn't. Stayed up, decided, what's the point in trying to go to sleep? I'll sleep later. The gig finished, I went back to the hostel, and the hostel turned into a wild party ground, so I had no sleep then either.
Mate, you make the idea of touring around the world sound terrible.
I mean, that's just because I'm getting old.
Yeah.
So then we travelled home. We came via the ferry. I think it was actually into like Hull or Harwich, somewhere really far down south. Drove back up the road, and rather than going home and going to bed, I went to one of my mates' weddings and got chinned by the bride's father. Like, oh, why are you late? I mean, don't get me wrong, I turned up pretty much as the dinner was getting set. It was pretty bad, right? I felt really bad about it. I thought I'd be back earlier. And he's like, where have you been? I was like, I'm just back from the Czech Republic. Like, I've been in tour with my band. And he went to give me shit, and I just pulled the pass out, like, there you go, and showed him it. And he was like, fair enough then. And turned my back. Okay.
Yeah, do you make touring sound terrible?
It's great. Yep. But you need to have a tolerance for a lot of travelling.
For people. You need to have a tolerance for people that won't let you sleep.
Have you saw the meme going about, it's like, oh, you're in a travelling band, you must see some great sights. And then it says, like, great sights, and it's literally just like service stations, toilets, the back of the van. Like, that's true.
Yeah.
It is. Don't get me wrong, it doesn't take away the fact that the time you get to spend in places and the people you get to meet and spend time with are incredible, and the gigs themselves can be unbelievable. But I was talking about this with somebody else before we go back to this. Sorry, I'll very quickly say it.
It's much more important that we talk about, actual real life things rather than stupid Slipknot stories.
It's very true. So I was saying it's like bands are almost 90% effort and then 10% livable, great experience. But that 10% more than makes up for the 90% when you get it. Mm-hmm. So you could spend...
Well, I hope you get that 10% when you go down to London at the weekend.
I will. That'll be great fun. Leaving at 7 a.m.
It sounds terrible already.
Can't wait. I'm going to have a KFC. It's going to happen. In the service, I was in the services the other week, just again, totally off tangent, and there was a place, it was like a Mexican themed restaurant. I don't remember what it was called. I'd never seen it before. And I was like, do you get a KFC or do you go and see a bit of burrito? They had a burrito called the LA Beast, which is 14 inches long. And it cost a tenner. And I was like, I could have that.
You could have two of that.
Well, that's what I was thinking. Like, if I get one, I'm going to have to want another one. And I'm not spending 20 quid in the services on 2 burritos. So I'll just go and get a KFC.
What's the name of that burrito place in Edinburgh that we went to?
Taquito.
Taquito. Oh,
you want to go back in?
I would like to go back in. Let's go. Let's just stop the podcast and go there right now.
We could film us going to it, eating the burrito,
doing
on the
a
way
live
back.
Guitar Souls there. That'd be great.
It'd be great. Like, the twos would be totally hyped up all the way in, so it'd be an hour of great footage. Yeah. There'd be great footage of us in there eating these, and I'd make sure yours are spicy too.
In the car.
Exactly. Loving these burritos, and then it would just be an hour of the two of us going all the way home because it would be so full.
Yeah, they make a good one. On the KFC note, the vegan burger suits my wife because she's veggie/vegan depending on how she's feeling that day. Mm-hmm. And mate, have you had their rice boxes?
Yes.
Oh, dino.
But £4. That's how much the vegan burger costs.
Is it £4?
Yes.
Okay. I don't.
I feel bad for anyone who's vegan that has that desire to go and buy something from KFC and ends up with a £4 not chicken burger. No, because it's not chicken. Like, I don't mean that as in like, oh, you should be eating meat. Because you get all the fucking arseholes of the fucking world under the sun coming out and saying...
I'm that arsehole.
I've seen people posting like, I mean, if you were going to go vegan, why would you buy a burger from KFC? Ha 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 ha. It's like, because it's a fucking fast food place. You don't have a lot of choice in the high street. Luckily, places are coming up into that. And yes, KFC are not exactly good to the chickens that fucking become the food. But they're becoming food. Like...
Yeah,
people are going to people have to eat, and people that are choosing to ethically not have chicken at KFC kind of have one up on us that are eating meat.
But you know that the other side can be just as stupid, right? The amount of times a year that I have to explain to someone that no, KFC haven't legally changed their name to KFC because they can't legally use the word chicken because their meat can't legally be described as chicken.
People
Aside
are
from that clearly being demonstrably false, all you need to do is look at a fucking menu in a KFC and you'll see the word fucking chicken everywhere, you idiot.
People are stupid.
People are stupid.
Like, beyond stupid, man.
I am going to get back to Slipknot here, though. So if you want to win that, I think all you have to do is go into Guitar, try out a Jackson, one of the Jacksons, and then ask someone in store about the competition. They haven't given any information other than that. So
I know what it is. You need to know the secret catchphrase, which is, what does Corey Taylor think?
What does Corey Taylor think about this competition? Yeah. I think it's probably a case of who tries out a Jackson and pays the most money for one will probably get their chance. Just while we're on the Slipknot thing, I just saw a link to 13 things we learned from Slipknot's London headline show. I'm just going to blast through these. One, Slipknot are probably bigger than they've ever been.
Who cares?
Yep. Aren't Behemoths just supposed to be the support band? Unsainted is a beast of a way to start the show. They're not afraid of a cliche or two. Repetition doesn't matter. Slipknot can get intense. You've only just learnt that. Maggots are as rabid as ever. Treadmills are cool. New Slipknot is killer. Old Slipknot still reigns. They've taken some cues from Rammstein. Spit It Out has left a hole in their set. No band can touch that encore.
None of those things are facts. And that's all I've got to say to you, Metal Hammer.
Yep. So thanks for your time. Right, should we do a sad story?
Absolutely. I mean, it's going to be pretty much the full fucking episode, so let's do it.
I'm trying to bounce between negative and positive. Well, sad and things that we can be negative about, I guess, would be a better way of putting it, because this is the Guitar Souls at the end of the day.
So, things that are negative of their own volition versus things that we are negative about.
Yes.
Is that a good way to put it?
Yes. So Ozzy Osbourne, 71, reveals that he has Parkinson's in an emotional interview with his wife Sharon, where he says he can't hide his nerve pain anymore and shares plans to seek treatment in Switzerland.
My concern about seeking treatment in Switzerland is that there's any chance that's Dignitas, and I'm not joking.
Yeah, seeking treatment, you need to be very careful that you go into the right establishment, because you could get...
What's with this fucking machine? Sharon!
Yeah, it's a shame to like make light of it with jokes like that, but I think that's the way to deal with something like this. Growing up, Ozzy Osbourne was my hero. I still would say that like desert island artist for me is Ozzy Osbourne, and that's been my answer for at least 15 years.
That's understandable.
I just love his music, and Ozzy, I think, was the first person that at a young age I confronted the idea of mortality with. Because obviously everybody dies, but Ozzy was the first one that I really had to go, there's going to come a point in my life where Ozzy won't be around anymore, and that I'll be really sad that day when that happens. And yeah, his health has obviously been in decline for a long time. So
he has done well for just how extreme he's lived.
Yes.
Bit the head off a bat by mistake. Could easily have had rabies and died.
Yes.
Probably done more coke than fucking El Chapo's handled.
Yes.
Like... There's stories about when back in the early Black Sabbath days they would turn up with Persil boxes, like soap powder boxes filled with cocaine.
Yeah.
Wild. He had that quad accident about, 10, 15 years ago, and was in really bad condition. Somehow pulled through. The guy's...
a trooper. I mean, he's a marvel of medical science. I don't think we should be listening to his music. I think we should be studying him.
What makes you so hardy?
Yeah. But yeah, it's really sad. I watched this interview with Ozzy and Sharon, and it's tragic. Like he is clearly a broken man, and that makes me really, really sad to see. Also, find it funny, or entertaining, I should say, not funny. Man, that Brummie accent, it's just still so there.
Mm-hmm.
You'd think that after, I don't know how long he hasn't lived over here for now, you would think that might have toned down a bit. Maybe it's something he tones down a bit in certain settings, but this one he goes full Brummie. So that's sad to see. He's also kind of admitted just recently in the press yesterday that we will have to see how my health progresses to know whether or not these summer shows will be taking place. But as I said, probably 20 episodes ago, those shows are not happening. Those shows are absolutely not happening. So yeah, that's I was talking to one of my Magic pals last week when this news went up, and he said that he had tickets for the show, and I was like, I cannot believe anyone bought tickets for those shows in the first place. Like, buying tickets for an Aussie show is probably almost as much of a financial risk as buying a TTM guitar. You know, you don't know whether or not you're ever going to get anything out of it. So when the first lot of gigs were cancelled, my pal David traded his tickets for Who tickets. And I'm like, yep, that was the smart thing to do, because although the Who, like, Jesus, that's an old band, that gig will happen. These Aussie gigs, I don't think these gigs are ever happening.
Supporting a potential paedophile? I'm not playing that game, sorry.
I mean, don't watch Hollywood films. Don't
I know.
don't do anything.
I know.
If there's one thing we've learned in the last in our
5 years.
lifetime, it's that paedophilia is a lot more common than we thought it was.
Everybody's a sex offender. That's essentially the takeaway from Hollywood.
Yeah.
Everybody.
So yeah,
no one is
hope,
safe.
Hope that Ozzy. He's not going to get better. He's simply not going to get better. It's a tragic decline, and it's awful sitting and thinking that he's in constant nerve pain at all times. He's 71 years old. Things don't get better from here.
Well, we can hope he feels better. Maybe at this point it's better to say that the best we can wish him is comfort.
Yeah, and not necessarily the getting better, but just sending out, I don't want to say sending out thoughts and prayers, but you're sending out that love among the community and reminding ourselves of just why this man is so important to our genre. Not just as a writer, though it's questionable how much of his writing he ever did, but as a talent scout, if you like, for the amount of guitar players that he has found and brought to the limelight, who have then gone on to influence generations of players. Randy Rhoads, extremely influential on hundreds of thousands of guitar players. Jakey Lee, probably less influential on people, but still a great guitar player.
He's still relevant as well. He's got a signature Friedman came out at NAMM.
Does he?
I think it's a Friedman, but he's got a signature amp came out at NAMM, and it looks, if it's not them, it's, I'm sure, a Friedman or an Omega.
Right.
One of the two. But it sounded amazing and it looks incredible.
Okay. Well, Jake's a great player. I do like
there you go.
Like
I can't think of anything Jake's really done since Ozzy. Mm-hmm. And he's still getting signature amps. So, and that's not any slight on him. I don't follow his career. But
and of course Zakk Wylde. Like, come on. Like that.
Was that Ozzy tour not called Zakk Sabbath? Because Zakk was playing him?
No. That's a different tour. Zakk is. I was meant to fucking look at this. Keith Gannon sent me a link to ask if I was going to be at the Birmingham show.
Right. So you go down and play all those guitars?
No, I don't think I'd be going and playing the guitars. But Zakk is doing the Zakk Sabbath tour, and he's only playing Birmingham.
UK tour,
which is a shame. If I recall from talking to Keith, there is a meet and greet option that you can do, and he'll sign a guitar for you, but only if it's a Wild Audio or a Gibson Zakk Wylde.
Oh,
that's poor form. I would love to go to that, but Birmingham is a fucking trek.
So he's not even going to sign my tankard that I drink my Valhalla Java from, no?
Only guitar. No, he'll sign. I'm sure he'll sign other things, but if it's a guitar, it will only be a Wild Audio or a Gibson that he would sign. So I was told.
He's not even got to sign my TTM. Shady.
But
he was in their videos though. Remember?
Oh fuck yeah!
That was the worst.
Yeah, that was. This show is just dominated by TTM, isn't it? Zakk Wylde alone is enough for me. Like, to say that if the only thing Ozzy brought to the world was introducing the world to Zakk Wylde, that would be fucking enough. Because the amount of people that Zakk Wylde has influenced, love him or hate him, you cannot deny the influence that he had on rock guitar from 1989 onwards.
It's funny you say that. It was a similar conversation with a friend of mine. We were talking about just guitarists and who you like and who you don't. And we both came to the kind of unanimous decision. It doesn't matter whether you like or you dislike a guitarist. They are influential if you can tell it's them playing right away. Like in Zakk Wylde, you know it's him playing. The tone, the style of playing, everything is just him. There's no other way to put it. Yep.
And there are some guitar players that you can hear play, and I think you could possibly mistake them for Zakk because they're so influenced by Zakk.
That's definitely.
But that's the point, isn't it? That's exactly the point. If you can hear someone play that isn't that person and you can't tell who it is because you just think it's the person, that person has enough of a style that they've clearly influenced people to try and imitate them exactly.
Yep.
So Zakk Wylde, absolute legend, of course. And I don't know what to say. Makes me really sad. Should we go away from sad news back to rage?
Yes, love and support to Ozzy and the family.
So I know what rage I want to do. I just need to locate it.
Okay.
There it is.
This isn't even worth talking about. That's the worst part.
Did you say it isn't or is?
No, it's not. Like, it's so... Why? Why would you do this? You bad man.
Yep. So, Tom Morello. We raged about him last time. We raged against the machine last time. and we're going to rage against the machine again right now and segue this into some more Fender news.
Yes, we are.
Tom Morello has a signature Fender Stratocaster. How do you feel about that?
Truthfully, I think it's stupid because that is just an Aerodyne Strat with a couple of mods and the word Soul Power wrote on it. But then again, if that's all I can say about it, then there's lots of other signatures that are a total waste.
Sorry. Do you think that has Soul Power written on it?
Is that a sticker?
That's a decal that comes in the case. You don't even have to put it on the guitar, right? That's how much of sucking the corporate dick this is. It's, well, I wouldn't want to put you off from buying my guitar if you don't want Soul Power written on it, so I'll give you the option to have it there or not.
So we're not going to put this Machine Kills Fascists on the guitar, but it's definitely your signature, you know? You can put it on if you like.
Fucking commit. If what you're saying is, this is my guitar, you want to buy it because it's my guitar, you fucking sell it the way that you play it.
Wait a wee minute. I'm sorry to interrupt, right? I just saw a comment here, obviously this is on Guitar.
Yeah.
£1,200.
Made in Mexico.
I was going to say, I know it's Mexican. £1,200 for a Mexican, it's not even a fat Strat, it's got a humbucker on the bridge by the looks of it, like a hot rail or something, but bulk. No, thank you.
Honestly, the thing that drives me insane with that is purely the fact that Soul Power doesn't come on the guitar.
Underneath the paint.
That you put it on the guitar if you choose to. Because, as I say, if someone's buying this and they don't want that on there, then they don't really want to buy a signature guitar, but you're still charging them signature guitar money for it. Why? Because you're a fucking embarrassment to your political views, Tom. You're an absolute fucking embarrassment. And shocking.
Shocking, eh?
Where's the other comment? It's that same one. Does it come with an exemption certificate for the anti-capitalist certification?
I know. I'm assuming that Tom Morello won't make any money from this.
Oh yeah, no, of course he wouldn't. He wouldn't want that. He
doesn't need to. He's got his guitar lessons, I suppose.
Yeah. Those are free, aren't they? That's how socialism works.
Dun. You didn't trust guitar teachers. Dun.
Now you do what I tell ya.
Right. Anyway, enough. Tom Morello, unexciting, terrible person, ugly guitar. Next.
Yeah, but don't worry. I hope he makes loads and loads and I genuinely do. I hope he makes so much fucking money from this guitar. I really do. I hope every time I go out in public and I see someone with a guitar, they have one of these.
Aye.
So I can then go, are you enjoying all of that money that you made from it, Tom? Oh, isn't capitalism great? Mm-hmm. You fucking hypocrite.
It's beautiful.
I get the impression you don't want to talk about that though, so that's fine.
I don't want to talk about it.
But the other Fender news.
Oh, let's talk about that.
This is sort of I can speculate on this one.
Mm-hmm.
Guitar maker Fender fined £4.5 million for price fixing in the UK. Now, we talked about this on the show previously, if I recall. Why don't you give us a rundown of this story?
Just as it says, Competition and Markets Authority have imposed a penalty on Fender Europe for breaking competition law by preventing online discounting for its guitars. It's the biggest fine issued in Britain for this type of price fixing, which is known as resale price maintenance. I'm not going to lie, without reading any further in my retail experience, this doesn't surprise me, and they won't be the only company that have this hit on them.
Yep.
Everybody is looking to keep value in their brand by having prices similar across the board.
Mm-hmm.
Don't know how I feel on it.
Yeah, so I was talking to Darren Watson,
yes,
friend of the show, and he was looking at this and saying that he doesn't see the issue with Fender doing this, and it's a double-edged sword. I can see both sides of this argument. While this, Fender being able to set the prices for the stuff that they sell, seems like something they should be absolutely allowed to do. It's your product, and you should be able to sell your product for whatever you want.
You've already made the money on it.
Yep, but if your contracts with your sellers are, let's not pretend that Apple doesn't do this,
Oh, that's what I'm saying. My retail experience is that I guarantee you Fender are not the only people doing this.
Yeah.
This is a common practice across the board.
Yeah.
We value our brand. This is what we value at. The price is at. The price to you is this. You cannot advertise an right sale below these prices.
Yep.
You can sell it to other customers. We're not saying you can't sell them whatever price you want, but you won't devalue our brand in the eyes of anyone else or cause like a lost leading or a fire sale across the board by advertising that.
Yep. And when you put it in that light, you can sort of see why a company would want to implement a system like that, because it does protect the brand. And I do have to question how much, when you read like the Competition and Markets Authority, when you read what they say in terms of why this is a law that's in place, they make out that it's to protect consumers. And I don't really know if it is fully protecting consumers.
It depends. I think it's a very fine line. If it were the case that these prices were never really at the same value of what the guitar is and they were constantly going up, then absolutely.
That's what I said to Darren.
So, I mean, I'm not going to lie, I actually think that Fender's pricing strategy is mental. Like, perfect case in point, a signature Mexican guitar, £1,200.
Yeah.
Silly money.
Yeah.
You could buy a Japanese Charvel for 900 quid. You could probably get one second hand for 450.
Yeah.
And you'd still have a fucking whack of change.
Well, and the worst part of that is that £1,200 guitar that you have to sell for £1,200. It's not a case of, I don't want to stock that guitar.
Oh no, Fender tells you what you take.
It's worth that when we think it's going to be a struggle to sell that. It's no, you have to take X amount of stock from us, and part of that stock includes this.
Gibson used to have a distributor in the UK, dropped them, this was maybe 15, 20 years ago maybe, 15 years ago, and started doing their own distribution. And essentially to have a contract with Gibson, they go, okay, you need to have X amount of stock in store and you get access to 6 models. These are the 6 models you're getting.
Yep.
The more you sell, the more they'll bring in, the better models you'll get. But you don't get to choose. You get what they give you and that's it.
Which
Fender have a similar
so backwards
tiered system, or certainly used to.
Right.
The idea being, okay, you want to stock Squire, you need to have, and I'm just talking hypothetical numbers, 20 grand of stock here in Fender and Squire in this range, and you can choose between these ones, these ones, these ones, and these ones, and this colour and that colour. You'll only get access to these ones if you start stocking £50,000 worth of Fender, and that's when we'll let you have the Mexican range.
Yeah.
And onwards and upwards.
Which is
It was Boss that started doing that first, as far as I know.
Yeah.
Basically, you want a Boss pedal, you will take all the Boss pedals.
Yeah. And you know what? To be completely honest with you, we talk about politics a fair amount on the show, right?
Oh, here we go. No, I'm kidding. Yes, we do. We're bad for really getting segued into anything, aren't we? Anything we can cast a negative opinion on, we're straight on it.
It's just occurred to me I've had that. We've been up on that screen for forever because of the Tom Morello thing. So sorry that I've made you look at The Guardian.
Yeah, nice picture of Hendrix here. It's all right.
We talk about politics a fair amount on the show, and I would be to miss the opportunity to again clarify how I stand on things politically like this. I'm very, very libertarian. Right, I think as little involvement from the government in your day-to-day life is the ideal situation to be in.
Yes.
So to have the idea that there is an authority in place to dictate how companies can and can't sell their stuff is something that doesn't really compute with me.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, then I see the struggle of, well, we have to acknowledge that monopolies are bad things. Monopolies are never good for the consumer. Fair?
Mm-hmm.
We don't ever want there to be someone to have a monopoly on a market, because then they just...
Can I break some really bad news to you, Levi?
Go on.
There are a lot of monopolies.
Yes.
I mean, there's probably like 6 or 7 actual monopolies.
Yes.
But everything that we touch, consume, buy, see, hear, almost breathe is owned by them. I know you're aware of that. I'm just being silly. But yes, it is bad.
If it was all one company, we are in danger as a consumer. Because,
Morello Corp.
Yeah, that's where it will end up. Because prices just, they get pushed up. Like
Correct.
They hold all the keys to everything. So there is definitely a dichotomy, an internal struggle there of, well, where is the line of how libertarian you can be?
Yes.
Because you do need to protect consumers, but also I don't really want the government involved in stupid stuff like this.
But see, this, if you read if I read this out, sorry, I'm fucking jumping away on that. Sorry.
I had my Patreon up on screen.
There we go.
I appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Plug. Of course, it was an accident. this is a good sentence, right? The CMA, which is the Competition Markets Authority, said the firm pressured retailers to sell its guitars at or above a minimum price between 2013 and 2018, meaning customers shopping around for the best deal found little difference in cost. The guitars start at about £500, £109 for Squire, but limited edition sets can cost up to £45,000.
Yep.
So the next sentence is the watchdog said Fender sometimes pressured retailers to raise their online prices after being tipped off that the stockists were not towing the line. Again, I can tell you that, not saying specifically Fender do that, but that's true of pretty much every distributor and retail brand in the music industry. If we get a phone call when I worked at Magnum Sound, someone saying, I've saw this online for this price, can you match it or can you do better? And you would look at it and you'd be like, I mean, that's either the price that everybody's got it at, or someone's went a bit out of line. Even if you phoned the distributor to try and get some sort of deal off them to help the customer out, I had personal experience of one going, I'll make sure I phone them and tell them they can't have it at that price because they'll not be stocking our guitars or items anymore if they are.
But as a retailer, isn't that what you want to hear the distributor say?
Yes, unless it's you who's trying to sell the item, because you might have
you the guy trying to sell the item for less.
Well, I wasn't in that scenario. But
I mean, if you were the guy that was trying to sell it for less, you don't want to hear that from the distributor. But as the company that's towing the line and selling it for what you need to sell it for to make your profit margin acceptable, you don't want rogue dealers just going, well, you know what, we're going to sell it at a loss.
Well, that's it. But I think it promotes unhealthy competition. Everybody's out to try and get the cheapest deal they can, but generally speaking, smaller stores weren't able to do that because not only did they not have the margin, because if you're not taking 10, 20, 30 items, 10 grand in stock, 20 grand in stock, whatever it is, you're not getting a good margin. You're getting it essentially at the price minus what your shitty markup will be to get your VAT paid and maybe 5%. Like I'm talking like a pat in the back, well done, you got that sale. Yeah. Right? But secondly, you're then making everybody fight for that business. If all the prices are the same, then nobody's really actually competing. Yep. You're just going to buy from whatever.
Now, but therein is like the thing that I look at and I go, well, as a business, isn't it not only Fender's right to conduct business how they choose to conduct business, and then we, the market, decide whether or not we allow that to function by voting with our wallets, but is it possible that at the core of the idea, it's actually about keeping the music scene alive, selling a guitar for £500 and making sure that guitar is sold for £500 rather than £400 by a few rogue sellers, describing selling something that you own for less than what you're told you can sell it for as rogue offends me, but yeah.
I mean, that's it. And again, for a bit of an eye-opener, as far as I'm aware, quite a lot of contracts with these companies are that when you buy that stock, the company still own it until you've sold it from the store, and that's part of the pricing thing. Like, we'll remove your right to these items that we own because you've not paid for them up front. You've probably got them on like a 30-day consignment or whatever.
Yeah, okay, fair enough.
That doesn't make it any better. That's just clarification of how they get around it.
But I look at it and I'm like, well, does that not protect the smaller retailers? If Magnum Sound is selling whatever the current, Magnum Sound doesn't exist anymore, but if Magnum Sound was selling a USA Strat and it was the same price as you could buy it from Guitar or you could buy it from Amazon or whatever, surely that's good for Magnum Sound. Surely that's good for Magnum Sound or the small retailer, because then if you live by the small retailer, the local retailer, you buy it from the local retailer rather than going, well, I'm going to go to Guitar for this because they sell it £10 cheaper or whatever.
People probably would do that, and they would get into Guitar because they've got a lot more options of, well, maybe I don't exactly want that US Strat. True. And then on top of that, if you've got that level of competition where they can bring you in the door with more enticing information and more stock, Magnum Sound being a great example, they probably still had a much lower margin on that than that big store.
No, that is true. I guess what I'm saying though is, because you're adding all of these other guitars into the equation.
Yeah,
if the customer's mind is made up on, I want this.
That's exactly
I
the
want the
guitar
Tom Morello Strat. You know, if you know you're going to pay £1,200 for it, I know, I made a terrible mistake. I'm the biggest mistake is I'm going to put the Soul Power thing on it as well.
Hello, Lance, get him to help.
Yeah, if I've decided I want that Tom Morello Strat, like as a business owner myself, like I want there to be some sort of consistency in there that protects a smaller retailer. And part of me looks at that Fender situation and I go, well, is that not protecting retailers as well?
Potentially.
because small retailers are being put out of business by the big box guys.
Absolutely.
And Guitar, you know, they're one of the big boys, but in the grand scheme of things, nobody's a big boy compared to Amazon.
True, but I don't think the problem is the other big boy retailers. I think the problem is the distributors not giving smaller stores access to that stock.
Okay.
And when they do get it, they get it at a much less competitive price for them to stock it.
So, yeah.
I would say it was me that was running this retail store and it's called Mike's Guitar Store, right? If I had the choice between stocking Cort, for example, and having a 40% margin, or having a Fender Mexican account and having 10% margin, and them both, in some instances, being from exactly the same factory, just a different logo and headstock shape, why the fuck would I stock Fender?
Because the Fender brand is more valuable than the Cort brand.
Not to my business, it's not.
Not to your... Well, yeah, to your business, because 10% margin, but you're going to sell 4 times as many Fenders as you are Corts.
Are you? Are you sure about that?
Well, if you're a good salesman, then maybe it'll go the other way. But people come in looking for the Fender. You might then be able to sell them a Cort, and I guess as a that's a scary one, because as a business owner, that's in your interest. But also, I kind of think that when you're in sales, it's your job to sell the person what they want, not what you want to sell them. And if they come in wanting a Fender and they leave with a Cort because that's better for your bottom line, I don't know if you're the good guy in that scenario.
I'm not saying that's the case. As a salesperson, you're not there to sell somebody what they want. If you are there to sell, you're usually selling benefits of a product against what someone's needs are and what you think is going to best suit them. I'm not saying that it would be a case of me going, I'm going to have this person in the door, seeing the Fender in the window, and then force this Cort on them.
Sure.
I would probably just stock the Cort stuff and be honest with people.
Right.
Listen, essentially the same guitar. You're not going to get the same headstock name on it, but it's cheaper, so you save some money and you're getting the same instrument and you can buy whatever else on top of it.
Yeah. So you're talking about a scenario whereby you wouldn't have the Fender in the window.
I just probably wouldn't stock Fender if it was me. I think that the way that the distributors allow access to stores based on how much money they can put in and float in stock, very much outprices smaller independent stores from having that stock. So it doesn't really protect the small guys at all, because they don't have access to those guitars to sell to start with.
What we should really be taking away from this, or what anyone listening would take away from this, hopefully,
don't go into the music business.
Yeah, well, it's an extremely complicated market economies are very complicated. Absolutely. And ultimately this is all speculation. Like, we're just speculating.
You and I are spitballing here.
It would be really interesting if we both had our own guitar shops and you look at it like that and you say, well, I make 10% on a Fender, I make 40% on a Cort or whatever. I don't think either one of us would be right to go one way or the other.
No, absolutely not.
I would speculate that I'd probably sell 4 times as many Fenders as I would Corts. Certainly I'd have to put a lot less work into selling 4 times as many Fenders as I would having to sell 4 times as selling one Cort. But yeah, they're very, very complicated. I think throwing in the additional complication of telling a company that this is how you can and can't sell things, I just don't know how I feel about it.
It's mental. But that is the nature of this economy. Never mind just the music industry and like that music business side of it. Like, that's just how it is.
Sure. What I will say, without a shadow of a doubt, is I am in support of Fender being fined, though.
Well, what it says here, just what I read above, is that the fine should have been £14.2 million had Fender not admitted to the offence under the CMA's leniency and settlement procedures. See, if you know you're doing something wrong, you shouldn't get a pat in the back and let away with it for doing something wrong and then going, well, we were just chancing our arm.
Yeah, but here's the thing, right? So, like I say, I'm glad that Fender have been fined, because I am a respecter of the laws that are in place. Follow the laws, but question and encourage change in the laws is kind of the way I would look at things. I don't think this is a law that needs to be in place, but Fender know that it is in place, and to so blatantly flaunt it like that.
Aye, if you know the rules, play the game.
Yes, best way of looking at it. So on the note of Fender, you've seen that they've recently changed ownership?
No.
Oh, did you not see this?
No.
Okay, so Fender, I might as well bring up the story, right? I assumed you'd seen this.
I have not, sorry, I'm just...
So one of their There we go. One of their biggest stock owners, Servco, by the most. Let me think a second and choose my words correctly. Servco, who were already a large holder of Fender shares,
A long-time investor.
now have a majority shareholder in the company.
Cool. So essentially, someone who was already fairly well involved with Fender has taken the reins.
Yes.
In terms of, we own the most shares,
Yes.
we have the biggest stake, we are the influential partner.
Yes.
Cool, right? Fingers crossed that does them some good.
I look at this, and to me, it's barely a story, you know?
Aye,
Because
it's just like,
as you say, it's somebody that was already at the seat of the table has now just changed where they're sat at the table.
it's me and you reading the Business Times and the Economist and going, oh, somebody's bought 1,000 shares in that. Right, brilliant. Did they have shares in that before? They had 1,500. Oh, cool, so they've got 2,500.
Yeah.
You're right. It's not that it's a non-story. It's just that we won't see much of an impact.
Yes. I
If
doubt we'll see any
at
impact
all.
whatsoever.
Exactly.
This happens in finance, right?
On an operational level, all remain the same, he said.
Yeah.
This is Mooney, who's Fender CEO, Andy Mooney. Sorry.
Do you think this will, in the slightest, have anything to do with that massive fine that they've just been imposed, though? I don't know how that would work. I don't know if it would impact it in any way, shape, or form. But I can't help but go,
I
that's
tell
good
you,
timing.
that it's funny you say that. Maybe they've seen the fine, shares have dropped, and they've went, bam, that's us, 51%.
Yeah. Yeah. So initially my thought was it might have been a move to try and sort of avoid some of that financial responsibility of the fine, but actually it could have been taking advantage of the fine. Okay,
That's what I would think. Someone
interesting
playing the
perspective
market.
on it. Yeah.
Because it's not that they've said they've taken in, like, any creative control. They've just taken the majority stakeholder.
Okay.
That's how I would see it.
Yeah, that's fair enough.
And that's my opinion and feelings, more or less, on how the stock market works. Anyway,
let's talk about Reverb, looking at Ranger effects. I think we both agree that this is our favourite product from NAMM.
Aside from the Ormsby guitars, yes. Just
there's
to
lots of great
throw
stuff
that
at
plug
NAMM,
in there. Come on,
right?
Perry. Come on.
Ormsby guitars are fantastic, but has Perry ever done anything as revolutionary as this?
You're only saying that because it's got a fucking Union Jack on it. You're a big unionist.
Yeah, mega unionist me.
That's why you stayed in Scotland.
Yeah.
You're trying to keep us in single-handedly.
I describe myself as a Scottish YouTuber, despite being English.
Stop oppressing the unicorn, Levi.
So the minibar liquid analyzer, blend any kind of liquid in the container to get your personal overdrive and tone, right?
So I sent you the link to this and you were like, what the fuck is this? So
Yeah.
neither of us have watched this video,
No.
which makes it even better.
Here we go. British. You know, we like that.
You like that.
No, I just mean they're local. We could probably, nip down to their workshop.
Can I imagine you just getting on the phone? Oh, it's Rico.
He sounds almost identical to Jake Wilson. Do you remember there were like wah pedals, and I'm sure they were made by Zevex. It was like a wah pedal, but instead of having a actual foot thing that you put you on, there was a metal plate that was sensitive to how close your foot was to it.
I've seen a few products where it's like sensor driven.
Yeah.
There's a few WAs that are sensor driven. Like instead of having like a physical pot, it's like
the
LED.
the Morley ones.
Yep.
The LED like fiber optic. I don't know.
Exactly that.
Yeah.
All of those things.
It's just the type of thing like these old pedals where you operated them. I'm sure it's called the fuzz probe. There was a fuzz probe as well, and the wah probe, where the proximity of your foot to the plate impacted the tone in some way.
Yeah.
It's the type of thing where you just look at it and go, but it wasn't broken, so why have you fixed it? And this is that, but to the nth degree.
No, I don't think so. Because it's not so much we've tried to fix a problem. This is just do you want to have your own sound in the fucking weirdest way you can get a hold of it? Let's try it. I mean, again, for credit, we haven't heard this yet, right? This might be an incredible pedal. It might be complete dog shit.
Cannot wait to find out. Let's find
Same.
out. I just, to me, it's just insanity, right? That somebody has sat at home and they've gone, because, you know, we've been talking to somebody about pedals just recently and ideas that we think would be cool for pedals. And this never would occur to me, you know. What if I could control the sound of my pedal by making a drink and pouring it into the...
You don't have to make a drink. You can pour anything you want in it. I mean, I guarantee that someone is going to put semen in that, and blood, and snot, and sick.
Mate, what do you mean someone? We are.
Not in your garage, we're not.
Darkness of the liquid decides the tone.
Right, let me hear that. So does he...
The lightness and darkness of the liquid.
The lightness or... So it's fibre optic.
You don't know that.
The lightness or the lightness or darkness will impact how much light travels. So it's
No,
gotta be
it impacts the tone. He's not said about the gain. So the thickness, the viscosity might also have an impact.
All right, sorry,
It's a
I'll
liquid
actually listen to
analyzer.
him.
The liquid you put in decides the kind of gain that you have. So some liquids have more gain and some have less. Also, the lightness and darkness of the liquid decides the tone, how much treble.
So you can literally put any liquid in there.
Yeah, this is an experiment.
Yeah.
We want people to take part in, you know. So far we've tried, we've done a nail polish remover, sounds really good, high gain. But I like having a few drops of black coffee in it to bring down the tone of it, add a bit more bass.
Black coffee brings down the tone?
Yeah, darker liquids bring out the bass. And deionized water sounds really tight, a good strong overdrive. Coca-Cola is a less of an overdrive, but the darkness of the liquid means it has a good low end. Okay. Jack Daniels sounds wicked. Jägermeister, it's really good. We got some there. Very dark sound though, if that's your kind of thing. Dark, swampy, heavy gain.
Okay. What is this?
What's your tone, bro? Jägermeister.
Just as a note, I hate it when you get a demo of a pedal like this and you don't hear it without the pedal on.
You don't know, he's going to switch it off in a second.
Shut up.
Nail polish remover.
Nail polish remover.
I mean, that's almost the same.
It's almost exactly the same, isn't it? Just a wee tiny bit more treble. And
Coca-Cola.
so essentially all it controls is the tiniest amount of EQ. That was so anticlimactic, man. Imagine
you
you're
think the
at a
same
gig.
thing I am. This guy who's like,
Shite.
it's like he's looking at, he laughs at one point like, he's like, is this guy for real?
Not only is it not a great demo, but come on. Right? Can you imagine being at a gig and being like, oh fuck, my guitar sounds terrible, and just take a piss in your pedal? There we go, that sounds great.
My guitar sounds like piss.
Genuine like piss.
Oh, I really don't like that. I don't like the tone in this room. Can somebody get me 2 milliliters of black coffee, please? I need to take some of the
That's
treble
so
out.
shrill. I'm disappointed. I'm not going to lie. I mean, it was exceptional comedy there.
We were thinking about
Put all three on.
a different way electronically, and it was last year that I came up with a way of doing it like this, which is a bit more. It's kind of more practical and gives a more
Did he just describe this as practical?
of an obvious
An obvious?
picture of what you're actually doing. Like for instance, we sell the pedals completely dry with no liquid, and so they make no sound at all. And it's
So you need to add liquid,
We
otherwise it
sell
doesn't
you a
work.
product that literally doesn't do anything.
up to you, Joe, to go put your coat on, go to the shops, buy some liquid, whatever you think might do it. Oh, I mean, you can just put water in it. To find what your sound is.
Also, let's add into the equation, you know what mixes really well? liquids and electronics.
I just love the idea. It's like, you could just put water in it. Who the fuck is buying an experimental noise-changing pedal that's controlled by what liquid you put in and going, I'll just put water in it? Who? It's like, I can't believe I got this Engel Invader and it's been modded, so it's got these extra brightness switches. I'll just turn everything to 5.
Would you like to make a series of the most expensive YouTube guitar videos that have ever existed?
Tell me how that
I
works.
think we should get one of these. And I think we should do a series where we put different vintages of red wine in it.
So we can get the same tone every week.
Yeah. Mate, fucking hot sauce. We've come full circle.
Levi's done it.
Okay, right.
Up the road, boys.
I'll see if I can order one.
Do you think there'd be a difference in tone between standard Iron Brew and Iron Brew 1901?
Well, we're going to find out. And the other thing is, right, I've shot myself in the foot immediately with this one because I would love to reach out to this company and say, we want to partner up with you. Okay, send us one of these and we'll feature it on the show every week. But if he listens to this show, I mean...
Yeah, I really, really liked your presentation, Levi. I liked that you're keen on the idea, and obviously we'd love to get you and Mike on board. However, you're both dickheads.
Yeah.
I mean, that...
We hear that all the time.
No, sorry, we're not dickheads, we're guitar souls.
Yes, exactly.
It's all about branding, bro.
I have to draw back to this. The amount of times that that I see people talking about me or even talking about us online, and they try and use our name as a pun to insult us. Like,
That's the joke,
problem
dick.
with those guys is they're just guitar assholes. Awesome, you got it. You got the fucking pun.
But not even in a good way. You exploded it to isometric view and lost all the humour in it.
Yes.
Fucking gimps.
Yes.
Anyway,
Cringe.
so
Sad or happy?
pass. I wouldn't say either, to be honest, because I don't know what their history is like.
Okay. So I read up on this. Drummer Joey Kramer sues Aerosmith after being told he needed to audition in order to rejoin the band. So there have been updates to this story. He was unsuccessful in his lawsuit. It does seem like a relatively frivolous lawsuit.
More out of spite than anything else, you think?
Yeah.
I don't really know the full scenario. What happened between them? Why did he get kicked
So
out?
he
Did leave
had
the band?
he had medical leave, disability leave from the band because
Okay.
he was having problems with his ankle.
Okay.
if I recall.
Right.
And he took, I forget the exact amount of time, but it was a considerable period of time away from the band. Something like 9 months or something like that,
Right,
right?
yeah. I mean, I can expect that. People would take that amount of time off from their normal jobs if they'd broke an ankle or whatever.
Yes. He had been explaining to them that, I'm playing this stuff and keeping it up to the standard that it needs to be. It's hard for me. It's causing me pain at the moment, so I need time off. Fine. Band were all supportive of that. Then the Grammy thing came up and they had performances at the Grammy thing and he wanted to perform on them. The band... Go on.
Did you see any of the performances?
No, I haven't yet.
You know that Catatonic Youths page that I sent you the David Lee Roth
Yes.
clip together of?
Yeah.
The one before that was the Aerosmith
Okay.
with Run DMC on stage and all that, man, and it's like...
Well, everyone has been saying that Joey Kramer probably wasn't going to be the worst member on stage if he did play with them after hearing that. I do need to check those out. But
We can watch it after this, right? I've
in
got another
essence,
video to show you as well,
right,
by the way.
As a band, if your drummer has said to you, I need time off from the band because I'm not capable of performing with you right now, and then randomly when you get the opportunity to play at the Grammys, your drummer then turns around and goes, yeah, I'll play, it'll be fine. I think it's totally understandable I think the wording's a little bit off here. Audition is probably not the right word.
No, that's...
But it is it's not like many people are auditioning. He's not on equal footing with people that have never played with the band before. It's,
No.
Let's have a run through and see that you're capable of doing this. And
Especially
he wasn't
when
capable of doing it.
As you said, he'd been saying himself he was already feeling like he was incapable. He was struggling with the stuff, whether that be the stamina or just in generally actually playing it or whatever. Aye, fair enough.
Yeah, so he was asked to audition to a click track to prove that he was able to play at an appropriate level.
Fair.
I don't see an issue with that, unfortunately, because
Nobody's throwing shade at him. That's literally just you've had an ankle problem. You've taken all this time off the band. This is a big performance. We want it to be good.
yes,
Ironically, considering
Yeah.
what I've seen.
Yeah. It's just like, Joey, where's the issue, mate? Either you go, cool, no problem, and you do your audition and you slay it, or you go, cool, no problem, you do the audition and you suck at it, and in which case it's probably best that you don't do the gig. I don't want this to turn into me bashing Joey because of a poorly decided lawsuit. It's not about that. I think the way Aerosmith have handled this has been relatively shitty. I'll just do a quick rundown. So, set to be honoured at the Grammys, blah, blah, blah. Joey, Aerosmith's lifelong drummer, is taking legal action against his bandmates, accusing them of preventing him from participating in this weekend's festivities. Kramer says he was forced to take a brief disability leave after suffering minor injuries last spring. Upon his recovery, Kramer was informed that he had to audition to a click track to prove he was able to play at an appropriate level. In the lawsuit, Kramer claims the stress associated with the audition caused him significant repercussions that put him in the hospital and forced him to miss Aerosmith's residency gig in Las Vegas. So this is quite a big deal. He says that he was required to pay his replacement $20,000 a week for the Vegas performances. When he finally did audition earlier this month, Kramer says Aerosmith again prevented him from rejoining, this time citing his lack of energy. Kramer has asked the judge to force Aerosmith to allow him back in the band, and that's where this all goes to pot, right? No judge is going to force people to work with you. It's just the way it is. To avoid irreparable harm, the band is set to perform with Run DMC at the Grammy Awards, and the update says the rest of Aerosmith have addressed the situation in a statement. So here's
read that? You want to read it?
Hmm?
Would you like to read it? Would you like me to?
I would love it if you would read it, so I don't make all these mistakes, because I'm a writer, not a reader.
You're a narcissist.
Yeah, I am.
You don't want to engage in other people's nonsense.
Yeah, go on.
Joey Kramer is our brother. His well-being is of paramount importance to us. However, he has not been emotionally and physically able to perform with the band by his own admission for the last 6 months. We have missed him, and we have encouraged him to rejoin us to play many times, but apparently he's not felt ready to do so. Just to interrupt, I think the apparently he has not felt ready to do so is a bit shady. That's throwing shade, in my opinion. He doesn't have to say it, well, apparently.
Yeah.
Right, sorry. Anyway, Joey has now waited until the last moment to accept our invitation, when we unfortunately have no time for necessary rehearsals during Grammys week. We would be doing a disservice to him, to ourselves, and to our fans to have him play without adequate time to prepare and rehearse. Compounding this, he chose to file a lawsuit on the Friday night of the holiday weekend preceding the Grammys, with total disregard for what is our limited window to prepare to perform these important events. Given his decisions, he is unfortunately unable to perform, but of course we've invited him to be with us for both the Grammys and our Music Airs honour. We are bonded together by much more than our time on stage.
I think you're right. There's like tiny bits of shade in there, but
Do you think that's maybe the hurt that they're feeling?
yeah, I think a petty lawsuit like that is never going to go anywhere, and I think the sole reason for that lawsuit was trying not to win, but to pressure them into changing their mind.
It's like it was noted in the side of this, funnily enough, further up, as a related article, the Lindsey Buckingham / Fleetwood Mac scenario.
Yes.
I want to be back in the band. You're already away gigging, making money on something else. You don't have to, playing the same songs.
Yeah.
Don't pretend it's because you need the income or whatever.
Yeah. The fact that they have extended that offer to obviously be with them at the Grammys and the Music Airs honour this isn't a you're fired from the band thing. It's you're not in a position where you're capable of performing with the band.
That's it. The first line, Joey Kramer's our brother. His wellness is paramount to us and ourselves. That it gives the impression, at least, that they care more about him being well than they do about having him perform with them.
Yeah.
And that's a horrible decision to have to make. That's a shitty position to be in, I would
it's
think.
going to ruin a lifelong friendship, isn't it? Because, we are bonded together by much more than our time on stage. I'm sorry, I'm sure you do feel that way, but after this guy that you've been bonded together for most of your life sues you because you won't let him perform in the... But this isn't the type... You're too old now. This shit takes 10, 20 years to get over.
Yep.
It's a real shame. Anyway, update number 2 is a judge ruled against Kramer in a request to be reinstated in Aerosmith. Plus, video has emerged of the drummer being turned away from an Aerosmith rehearsal by security guards. Did you see that?
I'm totally probably off the mark with this, right?
Go on.
I think it's more than his ankle. I think that's a cover story that he's maybe not very well mentally. And they're all more concerned about his well-being than anything, and he's got it in his head that he's fully capable.
Yep.
I as I say, total speculation, but I just have this feeling that it's not so much his physical and more his mental health. They've kind of alluded to that in the article, but not said necessarily it's his mental health. What they've said is he's not well, physically and mentally, and we want him to be well.
I could get on board with that.
See, I've got a small problem with TMZ as a website.
Go on.
I've seen somebody leaving a comment like, oh, they've got journalistic integrity and they release this and that and blah, blah, blah. And it's like, no, they report stuff before like even families are aware.
Yeah.
Kobe Bryant obviously passed away in that helicopter crash. My understanding is that was released before his family and other victims' families were even aware it happened.
Yeah.
That's not journalistic integrity. That's predatory.
I don't think, well, I can't say that doesn't exist. Many people, I'm sure, have made the argument that, tried to argue that TMZ have journalistic integrity. I don't think that they have journalistic integrity, but also don't believe that they have a duty to wait to report stuff like that, because news is...
I'm not saying it's a duty, but it's a level of decency.
Yeah.
It's the same way as saying,
like...
to
have decency, but no one legally is required to give people decency, you know what I mean? And we judge, that forms our opinions on how we feel about them.
True. I feel as if that's almost an argument that's a slippery slope to paparazzis can of course take photos of you through the window if you're naked. Because that's about journalistic integrity and decency as well.
Well, no, because taking a photo of you through the window if you're naked, if that violates a privacy law, then it violates a privacy law.
Well, if you're in front of a window, it's not a privacy law, but the whole point is it be decency. Anyway, we're not going to open this fucking barrel of worms. It's not even a can. Sorry. I just thought I'd put my bit in about TMZ.
Yeah,
it'd be a great conversation at a different time.
Okay, fine. You just want to get done. That's fine.
No, it's not like that. It's one of those ones like I keep segueing away from the actual stories. I'm sorry.
This is a 38-second clip. Something about this is really fishy to me. I can't make an accusation, but I can speculate on this. Check this 38-second clip out of Joey Kramer being rejected from... Oh, see that? He ain't getting into a Slipknot gig.
Is that your speculation? He doesn't look well.
Okay. Does that make sense, sir? Yeah. Is that all right? I mean, well, you're just doing your job. Of course. Yes, sir. Okay, thank you. Thank you, sir. Have a great...
That's it. Does that look fishy to you?
Only in the sense that it seems to be perfectly timed that someone's filming.
Yeah.
But what I think is probably the case is that's someone of Joey Kramer's entourage that have passed that to TMZ to report. Just to fuel the fire for this lawsuit potentially.
I honestly wouldn't surprise me if it came out that Joey Kramer had hired those two guys, because it's too perfect. There's no arguing whatsoever. He's just okay with it, and he immediately just turns and looks at the camera because he knew that this is being filmed. This was evidence.
But I don't think he hired them. I think it's too awkward a confrontation for it to be that, and I think had the cameras not been rolling beforehand, which Joey was obviously aware of, he might have kicked off. I think what's happened is they've pulled up to the studio and saw two guys at the door, and he's like, I'm filming this just in case, because it's either way, it's evidence they won't let me in.
Yep.
I don't think it's staged, but I think when you're talking about that being like a video, it's not a candid video. That's been set up.
There's so much more to this story. Like he at this stage, he was either during a lawsuit that he was having with the band before the judge told him he couldn't be in the band, or after. Either way, he has no business showing up to the rehearsal because he knows he's not fucking rehearsing with the band. The fact that the band would then still hire security to stop him from coming in would suggest that he's made it clear to them that he is going to try and come.
Well, that's it. Like,
you know what I mean? Like,
or that they're fully aware of his persistence. Because it seems as if, from the limited information we've got, that he's made it very clear that he's keen to get back into the band and be performing and whatever else and blah, blah, blah. So... yeah.
It's sad that it has negatively impacted his relationship with the band. But again, super old band at this stage, right? They've got a long, long, long legacy of music, and some of it is really good, but yeah, well, a bit past their prime. I don't intend to sit and talk about Neil Peart dying, but that's a shame too. It's been the
man.
month of death.
It's been fucking shit. Like, ones that we don't have to report are Joe Payne, who played for Nile Psychroptic.
Yep.
Played in Divine Heresy with Dino. Was just an all-round incredible session musician, an incredible musician. I didn't know much of his stuff. I know a few people who knew him, and also a chap I knew from the States actually passed away recently. He's wasn't long, sorry, came out of jail and passed away. We don't know the circumstances personally, but it's a shame for Ryan as well. So it's not been a great month across the board, I don't think. Obviously, you've got quite a lot of famous musicians as well. Neil Peart.
Go on. Was there one of the non-named ones?
No, on you go.
Okay, well, before doing the deaf, I'll do the one that I can talk more about, and then we'll do the one that I'm sure you've got a lot more to say about than I do.
I think both is there'll be more about the next one to talk about than you realise. Anyway, sorry.
Yeah, sure.
That's not to minimise what's happened.
So, John Alderete, the bass player for... It shocked me to see he was in Marilyn Manson. I had no idea. I think of him as playing with the Mars Volta. But of course, most notably, I think of John Alderete as playing in Racer X. So John was one of the big influential, was in one of the big influential bands that I was listening to a lot of growing up.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll just read the story. So, bassist for Marilyn Manson, Mars Volta, Racer X, suffered a traumatic brain injury, specifically diffuse axonal injury. I don't know. As the result of a bike accident that took place on Monday, January 13th. He's currently in a coma. Now, this was a bicycle, not a motorcycle incident.
Just a total freak accident.
That no one else was involved in. Yeah, no cars or other people were involved in the accident. He was wearing a helmet and protective clothing.
Sustained serious head trauma in the form of a traumatic brain injury. A form of TBI's diffuse axonal injury, as Levi said.
Yeah. Tragic, just awful.
Super tragic, because we don't know what's going to happen, whether he's going to be fine, whether he's ever going to recover at all. Fuck me, man. Horrible.
And he was just a great bass player, just absolutely great bass player. There's no
clearly
no denying that.
Three very popular for their own reason bands and very different styles, requiring very different but kind of unique styles,
approaches to playing.
Exactly.
Showcases his versatility as a player.
100%. And
you go
love
back
for the
and you
guitar
watch
solos.
those
to his family,
old 80s Racer X videos, live videos.
Frightening bass playing.
He was just great. He was just really just fire. So
exactly what the band needed.
Yeah. So that's really tragic, and obviously we will bring forward updates
as we get them,
as and when they appear.
Yes.
But yeah, wishing his family well through this difficult time.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's a great reason to put on. It's a tough one, right? Whenever someone dies or is ill, your response is, "Well, I'm going to listen to a bunch of their music." There's not enough fucking time in the day to listen to all the music that we need to listen to now to remind ourselves why these people are such important parts of our lives.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so the final one. Here you go. I'll leave it to you.
Former Death and Cynic drummer Sean Reinert, dead at 48. Now this one was a bit of a fucking shocker, I think, across the board. My Facebook had not long recovered from people posting about Ryan passing away to then being about Joe Payne. And there was a few people I knew who really knew him quite well, who were good friends with him, who toured with him, who'd been in bands with him. But then the news came about Sean Reinert, and I can't think of a single person who's into metal that hasn't been influenced by Sean Reinert's playing in some degree. And all the stories that came out of people who'd maybe met him, etc., like friends who'd went to like NAMM and stuff with him, or took him to NAMM, he's like, I don't even know why I'm here, I'm a drummer, but people were like, even like all the guitarists, and all, I know NAMM's like for musicians, but it's, let's be honest, it's a fucking guitar head place, right? You know what? You know more than me. You've been, I haven't. But apparently, when Sean turned up to NAMM years ago, people were freaking out just because they're like, fucking hell, it's Sean Reinert.
Yeah.
But anyway, the story is that there's essentially the cause of death has not yet been revealed. He was only 48 years old. His husband put a statement out as well, just talking about what happened, and my understanding is that he was found unconscious at home. No reason to understand what happened to him or why. He was administered CPR and he was rushed to hospital, but
Didn't
unfortunately
have
never made it.
any drug issues or anything like that. So
No, apparently he was very clean living, happy-go-lucky, fairly fit. I mean, you can see in the photos of him, he doesn't look as if he's like overweight or ill. He's clearly a healthy man, or was a healthy man.
Yeah.
And yeah, as someone who loves death and loves Cynic as well, it's kind of hard to hear that such an influential musician has passed away young.
Yep. What?
Because 48 is not old.
I mean, he'd left Cynic, right?
Yes,
What
just
was the
after
situation there?
him and Paul Masvidal, I think, had a bit of falling out and basically decided they were parting ways. I don't know.
It's just
what
the
scenario
worst
is.
because I mean I've got a statement from Paul here.
I've not read this one. I've read the
Okay.
rest, but
Yeah, because I was also under the impression that they had fallen out, and nothing is worse. You fall out with people, and I think even when you fall out with people, there are people that we both know that that I've fallen out with, and it's not like it's not a hatred thing.
no,
It's
of
the
course
type of thing that you think maybe 10 years from now will be cool again, and that I think that's been removed as an option, and Paul must be gutted by this.
I think so.
I'll let you do it.
You're right. I think just before I read this,
Sure.
you're right on the button with that, because what I remember of it happening back in 2017, as it's saying here, they reached a legal agreement regarding Paul Masvidal taking full ownership of the name Cynic and the rights to the band. I don't know if it was creative differences or personal differences, but everything seemed very diplomatic in the public light. It was basically just we're no longer working together. We don't see eye to eye. That we don't have anything bad to say about each other. That's just kind of it. But yeah, so Paul.
Before Paul's statement to not hammer on my point, but what I guess I'm getting at is, if you out there are listening to this podcast, maybe you'll understand what I'm saying. If I said, think of someone that's in your life or used to be in your life that you have had a falling out with or whatever. If you were to hear that they had 2 days, 3 days left to live, would you reach out? You know, and I think in almost all circumstances, I think that's going to be a yes from me. And so it must be terrible for Paul to be in this situation where he didn't have that opportunity to fix that. So
Yeah,
let go of some of that anger, people. Go and say sorry to people, talk to people, be friends.
absolutely.
Apart from the people that I choose to not be friends with.
It's a hard situation to be in, to have to make that choice. I've done it myself a couple of times in the last few years, actually. Like, felt very betrayed by people who felt betrayed back to me because of my reaction to things, or maybe the other way around or whatever, not to be specific, but sometimes you have a falling out because neither person wants to see the middle ground. This is my point and that's it. That's their point and that's it, and nothing in the middle can reconcile it. And sometimes it takes a lot, and it will take a lot inside yourself to do this, to just go, you know what, the value of my friendship or whatever the relationship is much more important than my point of dying on this hill in terms of like sticking to this argument and insisting I'm right.
Yeah.
Because in the grand scheme of things, that doesn't matter as much as that person does.
Yeah, if that person was no longer around, you're never going to win that argument again. And you'll only ever feel like you lost it.
And more.
Yeah.
It's not just about losing the argument, you're losing a friend. You lose a part of your own humanity, I think, at that point as well.
Yeah.
As you said, an opportunity to make things right is lost, regardless of whether you want it or not.
Yeah.
It's just a complete what if at that point. Anyway, sorry, Paul Masvidal released a statement on Cynic's official Instagram and his own personal page. I'm not sure which evening this was, but recently, just talking about Sean's passing away. I'm shocked and saddened by the loss of one of my oldest friends. We were karmic brothers, connected by something beyond both of us. So many memories have been flooding my heart and mind. From the moment I first met Sean in junior high school, I knew we had a connection. His gifts were beyond measure, and I'm grateful that we were able to make music together. In the end, all that remains is love, and that's what I have for Sean. There will never be another one like him. Peace to his family and all his fans around the world. Listen to Sean play his drums and hear his heart sing.
Dreadful. I was going to press that, and I shouldn't press that. But yeah, it's just dreadful. It's sad to see. Of all of the, it doesn't matter what walk of life you're in at the moment. Like, I think everybody has lost someone that they admired recently.
It certainly seems like that the last year and a half to 2 years. I think, funnily enough, you talking about that idea of facing mortality, I think a lot of people are going through that in the last year or two, seeing a lot of their people to look up to, idols, celebrities that they admire or showcased or put on a pedestal, passing away. And yeah, that's a lot of people I think are probably going through that same motion you were talking about. Like, I can't, people that maybe think I don't want to go through this emotion because then I have to accept there's a world without them, potentially me, family members, whatever.
Yep.
So it's not nice. Sorry to end on such a bummery note, folks. But
this is an absolute bummer of an episode. But sometimes that's going to be the way it is. You know, we want to be assholes, but we also want to be real. You know, and
like us having humour and injecting humour into sometimes serious content doesn't negate the fact that we're not human ourselves.
Yes.
You know?
And also, I mean, let's be real honest here. I think the reason we try my words again.
Go for it.
The reason we the reason we insert humour into all of these subjects is because it's a human way of dealing with things, right?
That is my primary coping mechanism, is humour.
Yeah.
I'd sometimes make jokes at a totally inappropriate time or about inappropriate things, but that's just how people deal with it.
Yep.
And maybe you don't, maybe you're different. Doesn't matter how you deal with it as long as you deal with it.
But I think if you're 54 episodes into this podcast, not from us, but from a listener's perspective,
Yeah.
I imagine everybody that listens to this podcast understands.
Yeah.
They probably deal with it in the same way as us.
Absolutely.
So thank you very much for listening to us. And yeah, please do go out and listen to some of these great musicians. Go and listen to some Rush. Why not? Go and listen to some Ozzy Osbourne. Not that Ozzy's no longer with us. Go listen to some Racer X. Go listen to some Cynic. Who else?
Mars Volta, Psychroptic, Nile,
Nile.
Divine Heresy.
Yeah.
Ryan's band were called Cunt Torch. That might not be everybody's cup of tea. But I would thoroughly recommend giving him a listen. I think that his family and friends and fans and people who knew him and cared about him, because for what I only met him once, but a lot of people posting on my Facebook were talking about how he was just a really nice guy, had a great approach to life, was just very positive, would engage with anyone, just sincere, face value kind of person. I think they would appreciate that nod towards him.
Yeah. We are all musicians, I would imagine, everyone listening to this, and we live and die by our art. That's a statement of who we are, and it's while our mortality is ever pressing and our time here is fleeting, our art should live on forever.
Correct.
And it is our statement to the world. So yeah, go out and listen to some of this. Go out and listen to some of their works, and remember them, because they deserve it.
Absolutely.
And a very poor taste segue. Also remember that this podcast has been brought to you by Ormsby Guitars. Thank you very much for your kindness and support.
Yes.
Ormsby, head on over to ormsbyguitars.com and check out some of their lovely offerings. I think it's that one, isn't it? The one that...
What do you want?
I don't know, something about it.
It's cool, isn't it?
Something really cool about this. I'll just bring it up.
It's been laser inscribed.
Yeah.
Cheer yourself up. Go and have a look at the Ormsby site and think about all those guitars that you would love to own.
Yeah,
that's a good way to look at it.
Wow, look at that.
It's some amount of detail, isn't it?
If someone buys this, please let me know, because I would like to visit and play it.
Understandable.
Yeah. So thanks very much to Ormsby Guitars. As always, please do like, comment, share, subscribe, all of that good stuff. A link in the description to pick out a Guitar Souls t-shirt or mug or sticker or one of those good things. And we do appreciate your support. It means a lot to us.
Mm-hmm.
Any questions, let us know in that comment section. We would be doing our best to engage. You ready for it?
Yes.
Until next time.
Peace and love to you all.